Hey people, Jazzy over here. So yes, we are gonna talk about discrimination. It's not a taboo topic. I mean, everybody's talking about it. But I would like to talk about the discrimination that I faced, especially during the time while I first arrived to the US. Okay, so first thing first, I did not get too much of a discrimination from white people. I used to live in the Bay Area, then moved to SoCal, right? When I was in the Bay Area, the group of people that discriminated against me the most was none other than Chinese Americans. I'm Chinese myself. I'm from China, obviously, right? So it was so funny. There was this group of Chinese Americans, yeah, specifically Chinese Americans, would be calling me so Asian, so Chinese, out of nowhere every day. And they were not joking. I'll tell you why. All right, I'll try to describe the situation. So, if my memory serves, right, there was one time I was eating my rice. I brought my lunchbox to school. You know, it was fried rice. Of course, I would eat it with chopsticks. As soon as I pulled out that pair of chopsticks, they would be like, "Why you so Asian, man? You're in the U.S. trying to use a fork." I was kind of stunned over there. To be honest with you, I was stunned. First of all, you're Asian as well. Don't tell me that you never use a pair of chopsticks, because I wouldn't believe you, right? And second of all, I don't know what that means by being so Asian, especially when you're Asian yourself. But then again, that was back in like 2009, 2010. Hopefully nowadays we don't see that kind of idiots, right? To be honest with you, at that time it didn't really hurt me, but it just confused me, right? Because at that very moment, I I didn't have a concept of how Asian Americans are like. In my head, there were only Americans and then a bunch of other Asians, blacks, you know. When as a Chinese immigrant, when you mention the term American to me, I was only thinking about, well, at that time, I was only thinking about whites and blacks, not even Hispanics, not even other Asians. But then I realized, oh, the US is a multicultural country, especially in California, right? So you got, of course, white Americans, black Americans, Asian Hispanic Americans, and all other Americans, right? But I did not have that kind of concept. So when I encounter with what they call the Chinese American or ABC, I was a little bit confused. I mean, first thing first, I was like, wait, how come this guy's English was so good, right? Like, he's got no accent, not like mine. His English is not like mine, right? And second of all, why is he looking down on me? Even though at that time I could not understand every single word that he said, but I could feel the vibe. Like, I could feel that his attitude was quite disrespectful toward me. So that was interesting, right? But on the other hand, when I was hanging out with whites or black people, they didn't give me that kind of vibe. They didn't disrespect me, but instead they were being very curious to me. They asked me a lot of questions about China. They asked me, a lot of my personal stuff, such as like, oh, do you do you actually know kung fu, or like, are you really good at doing math, and one of those classic stereotypes. I was asked with that kind of questions, and I didn't feel offended. Yeah, one thing I didn't get when I first arrived to the U.S. were the stereotypical jokes, right? I mean, I still don't get it nowadays, even though I have lived in the U.S. for a while. I still don't get why is it bad to be good at math, or why is it bad for eating rice every day. I still don't get it. And I was advised that I should not mention fried chicken with black people, nor watermelon. I mean, now I know why, right? Now I know I shouldn't, but I'm still trying to figure out how is that a bad thing. I mean, if a certain group of people like certain type of food, then what's wrong with it, right? Like, yeah, Asians like Chinese loves dumplings, noodles, rice, sure. We eat with chopsticks, sure. We're good at math, sure. Why not, right? And black people loves fried chicken, why not? Mexicans love eating tacos, why not? White people eating sandwiches, why not? So a friend of mine explained that to me, right? That was a white dude. He was like, "Oh no, you know what? Like, I feel like in this country, if if you're not doing anything white, then you're automatically, at a lower class." I'm not sure if that's true, but according to himself, even though a lot of minorities were saying how bad white people are, but they're always trying to act white themselves, or they're trying to act Americans. But then again, how do you define an American? It depends. I mean, to me, okay, the countries, the majority of the country is Caucasian, is white people. So that's just understandable, right? But yeah, I did face discrimination, but the lucky thing that was it was only back at school. You know, when you were back at school, you're with a bunch of other kids, and kids are stupid, right? I mean, most of the kids are. Let's face it. Fortunately enough, when I finally got to the real world and started working, I haven't encountered any of those. Yeah, so that was great. And yeah, I don't think mature people would actually look down on others because of their cultural backgrounds or their physical appearance. I mean, we're not kids anymore. And for myself, I'm always curious about someone who's not from my culture. I a great friend of mine. He's kind of like my brother already. He's half Chinese, half Filipino, right? But he grew up in the Philippines. I always ask. I mean, I have known him for 17 years now. I still ask him questions about the Philippines because I'm genuinely curious about his culture. I'm learning every day. So yeah, I think it's always okay to ask questions, especially when you don't want to be ignorant, right? Go ahead and ask it, but just don't make fun of somebody's culture because that's just not funny, right? Be respectful, guys, and even though certain people are acting, racist or discriminating against you, don't feel bad, don't feel sad, don't feel angry. Always remember, mature people won't do that to you. People who are strong are not going to do that to you. Only the weak ones would try to bring down others to lift themselves up because they can't stand up on their own. All right, have a good one.